this one.
Oh, yeah.
Stand, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you all for coming. We have a full schedule tonight. We have two hearings, one on a B&B matter and one on a tax rate matter. The first matter, I might also add that Dave Polite is not here. He's sick, so he's here in spirit, but not in flesh. But Trish is going to take over, and she'll do a great job. And she is going to put in for Dave's pay. So that'll be good. Now, on the public hearing, the first one is regards bed and breakfast, inns and homes. There will be no vote on that tonight. We're going to read it, and it'll be an open hearing to discuss it, and then we'll move on to the second item. So, Trish, do you want to open the hearing?
Yes. This hearing is called to order at 7:02 p.m. this 27th day of August 2018 at Herman City Hall. This hearing is conducted to consider amending the definitions of bed and breakfast home and bed and breakfast inn as provided in Herman Municipal Code Section 420.010. The draft ordinance was reviewed by the city's Planning and Zoning Commission on August 8, 2018, at which time they took public comments and had discussion. The commission made some changes to the draft ordinance and passed a motion to amend the ordinance as follows. Definition of bed and breakfast home. A private owner-occupied dwelling containing not more than 4 guest rooms in which transient guests are lodged for sleeping purposes overnight for compensation. And in parentheses it says guests. A bed and breakfast home may provide food service to guests only. The dwelling must be the primary residence of the owner of record. Accessory buildings that do not meet all applicable building codes shall not be utilized as guest rooms. Definition of bed and breakfast inn. A private dwelling containing not more than 10 guest rooms in which transient guests are lodged overnight for sleeping purposes for compensation. Guests, in parentheses. A bed and breakfast inn may provide food service to guests only. Accessory buildings that do not meet all applicable building codes shall not be utilized as guest rooms. The Commission made its recommendation to this Board of Aldermen within 30 days of tonight's hearing. At least 15 days notice of the time and place of this hearing was published in the Herman Advertiser-Courier newspaper. This is intended to be a somewhat formal hearing. It is on the record and a transcript is being prepared. The public has opportunity to speak. While anyone is speaking, the board may ask questions and the mayor reserves the right to limit each speaker's time. We have some exhibits tonight, and exhibit number 1 is going to be the affidavit of publication from the newspaper. Exhibit number 2 is a copy of the notice of public hearing. Exhibit number 3 is the Planning and Zoning meeting minutes from August 8th, 2018. And Exhibit 4 is the entire municipal code of the City of Herman. Mayor Kerber, do you agree to accept these documents as exhibits?
I do.
Then we can proceed.
Okay, the public hearing on that issue of the ordinance regarding bed and breakfast homes and inns will hear any public comment that we have. Do we have anyone that wants to speak on this subject? Nancy, come forward. State your name, and you're allowed. We're going to take 3 minutes. We have a tremendous amount of things tonight, so do your best.
Nancy Satre, 109 S-A-T-R-E, 109 East 3rd here in Herman. And I just have a concern. I was pretty much okay with the way things were written at the Planning and Zoning, but I had a question because there were food inspectors there, and then we got this information sent to us from the food inspectors, And it seems to kind of contradict what was done on the planning and zoning. And so I'm just kind of curious how that's going to be handled, where you've all looked at this, you've all had it, okay, where they're saying basically any other food, including lunch, dinner, snacks, and so forth, would fall under a food establishment category and would need a certain requirements, blah, 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 the whole thing about the mop sink and all. So that was my question is, how are you guys going to deal with this?
Well, I met with Greg and Laura, who's the head of the county health department, and those are state rules.
Mm-hmm.
Those are not city rules anymore if we pass this. Initially, we conformed to the state law, and we're deviating now from it.
Mm-hmm.
But that doesn't negate the state law. My understanding is the state law requires if you offer a meal other than a breakfast meal or any snacks, then you have to have a qualified kitchen. Now we don't enforce that. That's his responsibility.
So will you then, when this passes, will you then be sending out a copy of this form to all the lodgings and telling them that no matter what, they have to follow state law certainly is bigger than city law, I'm guessing, that they have to adhere to it?
When you fill out your business license for next year, you'll get a copy of the state law and instructions and a checklist and questions and answers, a packet. You'll get a packet.
Okay.
And that's what he is going to provide us. I think he's sent some information over already, and that's what they do, and that's how he wants to handle it.
And I think, it might not be a bad idea at that time to also add in the explanation of how the state feels about alcohol, because a lot of people have no idea that giving it away is not allowed either without a license. And also then maybe explanation of anything over 4 rooms that they need to be state licensed. I think that's important. A lot of people just don't realize that. And I think while you're doing this, send them all out.
I think that's a good idea. We'll ask for that.
I just wanted to make sure. Thank you.
Thank you, Nancy. That was very good. Does anybody else have any questions about this issue, the bed and breakfast? Tom?
You're right.
Okay, do I need an address to it? Okay. Okay, I'm confused on the change said that you could feed them anytime, is that correct? And was that a guest house?
Both.
Both being bed and breakfast and
Bed and
guest?
breakfast home and bed and breakfast inn.
I believe it just says that you provide food service.
Right.
Doesn't say anything about time.
And
Food service.
before, the health department had a regulation on bed and breakfasts or meals? Is that
Well,
correct?
the health department, Bruce, you can take this if you want, but and please do, but our ordinance is our ordinance.
I understand.
Basically, we removed the breakfast only portion of the ordinance, and from the old law, we didn't include any of the time or the other things. So basically, you can offer meals, any food service, anytime you want.
So that's guest houses and regular bed and breakfast.
It must be to residents paying guests
Right.
at that location.
And there was,
Guest only.
and yeah, I understand that. In the past, was there not over so many rooms or so many? I thought it was
Well,
always
we have
more
this-
than 4 or more than 5. Is that not compliant? I mean,
It's set up for 4 or fewer. That's a bed and breakfast home. And 5 or up to 10, I think, is a bed and breakfast inn.
Unoccupied or occupied?
Yeah, it doesn't have to have an owner by definition. They don't have to be there. It has to have an owner or something.
Okay, so are you
That's
saying?
what we call a guest house.
Okay, so now we inspected over 5 currently?
You're adding in the state's requirements, and they're very confusing. The state has food requirements that if you offer more than a morning meal,
Right.
a breakfast meal, then you have to have a certified or approved kitchen. And then they have a separate group of rulings, which are 5 or more rooms to
Right.
be looked at by them and inspected as a dwelling.
Right. Okay, I guess that, yeah, that was my question.
But that's them.
Right,
We still have the guest, the bed and breakfast, and the guest house. Bed and breakfast home and bed and breakfast here.
right. So then, would it not be right to question the health department on why you could be unapproved or not inspected for breakfast, which seems to be a meal?
That was a state statute.
Yeah.
I'm just,
Yeah.
there was never a question
Well-
on anything after breakfast, then you get to be inspected?
Tom, Craig was going to be here tonight, but this happens to be the week he has vacation. He will be here at the next meeting
Yeah,
to answer questions from anybody that wants to come and ask him questions. So he's the one that asks questions about his rules, although I think what Bruce is saying is accurate. And what I'm saying, I think is accurate, because I did meet with him. And I,
Ours is just plain and simple,
You-
food service.
okay. All right, well, and that's fine. I don't have a problem with that. I just didn't understand
The
how the health
statute-
department gets into the problem.
The statute was written around the description or the term, bed and breakfast.
Right, right.
Nobody apparently up there ever envisioned any more meals. You know, and that's why ours said with or without a morning meal. We were basically mirroring the state statute.
Sure.
Once you get beyond that, then the state law comes into it and the county has to inspect it. That's the way it's written. I mean, it doesn't really have anything to do with us. I mean, it's not going to be the city coming in to inspect your kitchen. It's going to be the county health department.
Right. Okay. It still seems to be,
It does seem a little weird, but you know,
if it
that's-
seems confusing to you, that's because it is confusing. And it took an hour for him to explain it to me, and I think I understand it. But if you ask me to write it down, I'm not sure I could. So he's coming next
Okay.
month.
Would you like this?
I think I got a copy. Maybe. No, I don't know.
You're welcome to this one. I can get another.
Sure.
You can't have that. You can have this one.
Yeah, no, I didn't get this. Okay, you know, it really doesn't, you know, apply to my situation, but people are gonna ask, so I just tell them I'm confused. All right, so then, I guess my last question is then, are you at the next meeting gonna have a proposed ordinance?
Yes.
Okay, and so the health guy is gonna speak before that?
He's gonna, well, they're two separate things. We're gonna proceed on our
Okay.
ordinance, and he's gonna tell you what the state law is,
Okay.
because that's what he does.
Go figure. All right, I'm done. Sorry. Thanks.
Thanks, Tom.
I gotta try to get it to stop. Sorry about that.
Need a rubber
I
now.
don't know.
I think you got it.
Stop.
Do we have anybody else that has questions about the ordinance as proposed, the draft ordinance? Okay, do the aldermen have any questions before we move on to the next?
Well, I do. It probably, without Dave here, he may be the only one that could really answer this for me. But at one spot, I believe a word is left out of this. Now, it says it's a private owner-occupied dwelling containing not more, I'm just going on the bed and breakfast home, it's the same in both of them.
Hi,
4 guest rooms in which transient guests are lodged for sleeping purposes overnight for compensation. A bed and breakfast home may provide food service to guests only. Why in the second place does it not say overnight guests?
because I think, I asked him this, because up here it says sleeping purposes overnight for compensation. So it's in the definition of guests, just above it, is that how you read it?
Well, yeah, And I'm looking at that, and that's fine, but I'm getting real tired in the last 3.5 years of people saying, well, it doesn't say that.
I hear you.
Okay, so I think that if there's any doubt whatsoever, the word overnight in the bed and breakfast home and bed and breakfast inn, that word ought to be inserted in.
We will ask.
Okay.
Is that how you read it, Brian?
Yeah, I mean, the term overnight is in the definition of guests, so that's how I would look at it, but
And then guest
we
is
can,
in parentheses. So
Yeah.
that's how they're gonna refer
I mean, it
to
doesn't, we can add it, I don't think it's gonna make a difference.
It doesn't change anything.
Right, that's what I mean, it's not gonna change
But
anything,
maybe it makes it more.
but it could make it clearer, yeah.
Bruce?
I'm good.
Susan?
Mm-hmm.
If everyone is good with that, then we will conclude this session on the bed and breakfast, and we will move to the tax section now. So I'm going to declare that that this is we finished the hearing on bed and breakfast home and bed and breakfast inn. Thank you. So she's going to finish up, and we can start on. Unless you want to give her a minute to. Go ahead, then, Trish, and you can start on the next ordinance.
Yes, so the next public hearing, which does not require a transcriptionist, is for the annual real estate and personal property tax rates. And this year, as you will see in your memo, the state did not increase the tax rate ceilings this year, so it's going to remain exactly the same as last year, which means the general fund tax rate is 0.3625, the parks are 0.0093, and the band tax is 0.0102, which brings it to a combined total tax rate for the city of 0.0380. So how, sorry?
Here it says 820.
You left it 2 up.
Oh, sorry, yeah, that was just mine. Thank you very much. You are correct, 3820. And that is still the lowest of any city in the county, just for your information. And however, due to our total assessed valuation this year increasing by $1,080,922, the revenues will increase by $4,129.13. And if you look at what was actually the public notice posted in the paper, it gives you the totals there. The total assessed valuation for all the real estate and all the personal property in the city is the $40,957,830, which is going to equate to $156,458.91. And we'll just go through how that's broken down there in the right-hand corner. And so general fund is going to receive $148,472.13. The park will receive $3,000, $3,809.08, and the band $4,177.70. And again, nothing has changed since last year. It's exactly the same
Okay.
as far as the tax rate.
Thank you. Do we have any comments from citizenry about the tax rate, or any questions about the assessed valuation, although that's not our job, we don't do anything with that. Are there any comments on this? No? Are there any comments or questions from the board? This is more of a formality that we do. Okay, well, if that's the case, then the hearing on taxes is concluded, and we will move on to the next item.
Hey, John, that packet is your information?
Right here.
Okay, we'll leave that for you. Let me take a minute to introduce John Buckner. He's with the Herman Advertiser Courier, to all the people that... John, we're on television, so watch out. Anyway, we're glad to have you.
It's a
Welcome.
dirty word to him.
He'll call you Buck, dude.
Very fun. Okay, moving on, the mayor's report. I have a very abbreviated report tonight. because we have a lot of things we want to take care of. Basically, my understanding, and maybe you can fill in about CTEL paving. We're going to start paving at CTEL tomorrow, hopefully. I would call your attention, everyone's attention, to two things that you've noticed probably in the newspaper and other releases that have been made from the city, and that is we have escalated attention, I guess, to drug activity, and that's being addressed very firmly. We appreciate the chief's tenacity on that, and it's a problem. We don't like to talk about it, but it's a problem. And so he's doing a great job digging into that, and I'm sure you'll see more activity along those lines. And the last thing is the grant to demolish some of the buildings. We're working hard to try to clean the city up. It should be a prettier place. It's hard to imagine, but it can actually be prettier. We can clean up quite a bit of this. It's not easy. It's very legalistic, and we have a lot of paperwork to file, but we hope we'll get our grant in by September 30th, and we'll have 3 or 4 buildings that we can demolish and use that property for something else. So basically, I wanted you to know we're working on those two things, and that's all I have. Mark?
As the mayor mentioned, most of my time has been devoted to a couple of grant applications I'm working on, the demolition grant being one. Another went through the Community Foundation of the Ozarks, and then starting in October, we'll get ready for the airport grant. Also working on a USDA loan application. Some of the highlights for the Public Works Street Department has been able to use some hot mix around town. They've been on 100 block of East 12th, Schiller just south of the cemetery, Schriever Drive, West 9th, the alley between West 8th and 9th, 2 areas on the 400 block of West 7th and West 18th over the water tap line. They used some cold mix in Hollyhock Alley and West 4th Street Alley between 10th and 11th. Todd wanted me to make sure I get all that in there, so they're working in this heat. The paver has been repaired, and he told me today they should start paving in CTEL tomorrow. So we look forward to that. Park Department is mowing and weed eating along with getting ready to drain and winterize the pool. Water and Gas Department has repaired a couple of water leaks and a sewer main. They installed a couple of gas service lines, working with AMR meters, and they installed a gas line up on West 17th, working on that this week. Electric Department said the transformer floated the conductor and made all necessary connections and terminations at the Stonehill bottling plant. And they're waiting for the contractor to get the Stonehill side done. And they installed secondary conduits under East 12th, and they've done some right-of-way clearing and meter change-outs. That's it.
Okay, thank you, Mark. The next item of business are ordinances, and I'll read the ordinances. Both of these ordinances we'll have to read twice, so I'm warning the board to kind of help us out with the wording of that. Ordinance number 2114, bill number 2018-27. An ordinance setting the 2018 annual rates for levy for ad valorem taxes for general municipal purposes, establishment and maintenance of free public parks, and municipal band purposes. This is the official ordinance for the hearing that we just had. Do we have any comments on that? Do I have a motion?
I move it first read.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion made and seconded to consider this and pass it first read. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, it's passed first reading. Let me read it again. Ordinance number 2114, bill number 2018-27. An ordinance setting the 2018 annual rates of levy for ad valorem taxes for general municipal purposes, establishment of maintenance of free public parks, and municipal band purposes.
I'll make a motion bill number 2018-27 be second read.
Second.
We have a motion made and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that one is passed 2 times. Next bill, bill number 2018-28. An ordinance to approve a municipal services and materials contract by and between the City of Herman, Missouri, and Corrective Asphalt Materials, LLC, for street work. Any questions on that one?
Is this something we do every year? Okay,
This is basically a sealer on some of the streets that we can save.
okay.
Any other discussion? Can I have, Bruce, do you?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion's made and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion's carried. Let's read it again, please. Bill number 2018-28, an ordinance to approve a municipal services and material contract by and between the City of Herman, Missouri, and Corrective Asphalt Materials, LLC, for street work.
I'll make a motion, Bill 2018-28 be declared second read.
I'll second the motion.
We have a motion made and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion's carried 2 times. Do we have any unfinished business?
Yes, I have something. Several months back, we discussed the communication between the city and different parts of the city communicating with the aldermen so the aldermen know what's going on. We were supposed to be memoed or tagged on stuff. I'm quite upset that with the court case thing and the things that led up to that after the case, people were asking me on the street certain questions that I could not answer because I did not know, and I come to find out that it was written in a memo, but the mayor was the only one that was copied the memo. And I don't like being blindsided by somebody out in the public and ask me a question that I can't answer. And I was really upset about it. I don't like to make waves, but I'm pressing the point that whatever goes on within the city, that we need to know what the heck's going on. And I'm tired of not knowing what's going on. And so I'm just putting it out there that, from this point forward, I would like to see things different.
Well, I apologize. What was this about? Can we discuss it or do we not?
Well, we can discuss it. I don't want to take up everybody's time. The court case, again, I was not there. I'm going by hearsay, but by several people, and then I verified it by somebody that was there, an official capacity, that what was recommended to the judge, what we wanted out of the case, we never voted on, and that was to put somebody out of business. I was dumbfounded with that as a recommendation, because I'm not on page for that. I want the guy to fly a straight arrow, but I don't want to put anybody out of business. And then they had 3 people that day ask me on the street. I'm standing there kind of goofy looking because I don't know anything about that, you know. So I'm just saying that stuff before that kind of incident, or before a meeting, we should know what the heck's going on. That's why we're here.
Okay. I believe there's 2 things I'd like to say on that. That what you're talking about, the pulling of a business license and closing up of a business, was discussed in closed session. It wasn't discussed, it was mentioned by the city attorney. And I even asked, should we have some kind of resolution on this? And nobody said anything. So he said we don't need it. He didn't say we couldn't have it. He said we don't need it. Second thing, in the court hearing of a week ago last Friday, when I was asked if we wanted to shut the person down, I said no. We do not want to shut him down. We're not going to ask for anybody to block his doors. I'm not going to do that. I'm not for that. I think it's wrong. And the part about the business licenses, I said, I'm not for that. I don't think, if it's optional, that we asked for this, fine. But that doesn't mean guarantee that we're gonna do it, does it? And that happened twice during the hearing.
I don't
Let me
think.
finish, please. Once when I was asked by our attorney, and once when I was asked by the judge. So, people that asked you were sitting in there, and they know what was said.
All I'm saying is the document that I seen after the fact should have been copied to us, so we knew ahead of time what was coming down. I don't care what was said at the hearing. I'm just saying that we should be privy of the information that's
And you
going
should.
on within the city.
And I'll look at it, and if, I don't know why you weren't, it doesn't matter. I think you should too. And if I can clearly see, if it's obvious to me that you were not copied on it, just because I get something from Dave, doesn't mean he didn't send it to you, or send it to somebody else in here. So I don't know.
Well, I don't believe anybody.
Well,
else
I
did.
didn't get it either. I can see Bruce's frustration with this. Our communication system breaks down occasionally. And considering us four are the ones that have to take the heat on this when it hits even the front page of the Herman paper, whether it's accurate or not, we need to be able to at least say, okay, this is what happened, or having to stand there and, look like a fool and say, well, we didn't know about it. That's not good. It really isn't. And if it's, like I said, if it's just a miscommunication, something discussed someplace, that's fine, but any document like that, we need to see that.
Well, it was
before-
talked about. It was talked
I
about.
understand that.
So,
but
I mean-
these papers went into court and we didn't see any
But
of
I
that.
mean, it was talked about in a closed session.
Okay.
And so it's not like it's totally, and that's the time that the alderman, that's a good time to ask a question.
Well, I don't take notes as well as I did in the past, and I need to start doing that. And I even told Bruce that.
Well, I don't want to drag it out, but I just, if we can from this point forward, to try and fix that.
You will. I will. Anybody else want to discuss that? Thank you, Bruce. Okay, any other unfinished business?
Yes.
He's on a roll.
I'm on a roll. Last meeting, when I was upset about the street situation, I've been doing a lot of thinking. And I know we need to get 18th Street done, that's a priority. And looking at the budget, even if we spend all the money in the street department for 2 years, that may be enough to get it done the way it's supposed to be done. I know 6 or 7 years ago, we went for a bond issue. It was passed but defeated because of majority. I'm just putting this out. I think we need to maybe discuss it, look into possibly doing a bond issue again, or whatever avenue we can to borrow money from another part of the city or something to get that street done at least. I mean, I personally would like to see bond issues so we can do more than just that street, but that street's a priority. So I would just like to throw it out there. Our next election is in April, so we have a little bit of time to work on it. But I guess poor Mark would be the one that would have to work on it the most, and Trish. But I don't know how anybody else feels about it, but I just wanted to throw it out there.
I'm getting real tired of having to tell people, I'm sorry, but we don't have the money to do it. I mean, it's the only answer we actually have at this point.
Well,
I
I'm
keep
just
saying, well, hey, we put it to the voters, they said no, but that's not getting any streets paved.
That's right.
Mark, what are the options on this?
Pay as you go,
That's what we're,
which is going to be a block a year to do it right.
But I mean, the
but
bond.
the 18th Street is what Bruce is.
Well, I'm just saying 18th is
All the
a
streets
priority
We need
because of the
to
hospital.
get more than that done.
I understand that. That's why
Yeah.
I'm throwing it out there.
Well, it's fine. I mean, if we want to do that, Bruce, April would be a good time. It allows us time to get the information before the voters. They haven't been very kind on tax increases lately, but
Well,
that does,
If everybody that has bitched at me about the streets votes in favor of the bond issue, our streets will get fixed.
well, that's the only way we're going to afford to have the money to go in and make significant improvements. We have 22 miles of streets, and right now, every year we can afford 3 or 4 blocks if we have to do curb and gutter with them. And some years that stretches it. So Now, one other thing to know that I think is happening is there will be the state legislature is going to introduce a bill next term when they come back that will allow municipalities, fourth-class municipalities like us, to have a transportation sales tax. A sales tax on restaurants and not bed and breakfast, but bars and restaurants. And that sales tax will be able to be used for transportation.
Yeah, again, then you're adding another tax, you know, we're at 8.1% sales tax now, you know.
I'm just reporting what
I
they
understand.
think that's a good option, and we may choose not to do it that way.
In a very large city, I can see making some money off of that, but I can't see we get enough money out of it here in Herman to really
I
accomplish
think you
it.
might be surprised.
I'd have to see the numbers.
Yeah, well, we need to know that.
Well, the other advantage of doing it in April is we're already going to have an election to,
We don't have to do a special election.
that's what I'm saying, we're already going to be paying for an election. If we can tag that on that way, you're not going to have two bills.
But the other thing, Bruce, to consider is which one has the best chance of passage, and we've got to figure that out. We need to fix our streets, but we can't fix them on a maintenance budget like we've been trying to do. We're doing pretty good for what little bit we have to spend, but we don't have enough to spend.
Well, that's why I'm throwing it out there now.
I agree
So
with you.
we've got some time to talk.
So any
amongst
spare
ourselves.
time, Mark?
I've done some of this legwork before.
Okay.
Yeah, he handled the other.
There are streets that either don't have infrastructure or they've been upgraded already that we could tackle immediately. And the rest of it will phase in as we improve the water or sewer or wherever it needs to be done. So we can come up with a plan, but it's not going to be cheap.
Well, the best we can do is put it before the public. And if they vote it down, there's nothing left.
Well, it's going to have to be put before the
Yeah.
public.
But I meant the bond issue and everything.
That's
So we're
what I
gonna have to
meant.
let them decide.
Okay.
If they say no, well then, they've got the streets they've got.
You know, the last time it was going to, I think, add about $1 to the personal property tax that we approved tonight, which would put us, if we did that, it was exactly the same number as Owensville. We are $1 per $100 assessed valuation cheaper. We're 38 cents, they're $1.38 per $100. And I'm not saying that's the way to go, but there's room there, but it's never popular to raise taxes.
Well, if they want the streets fixed, and I want the streets fixed, somebody's gonna have to pull a
Well,
trigger.
let's work on it for next time. We'll
Okay. Sure.
Maybe we can pull some of the framework from the last time and see what we can learn from that.
Thank you.
Okay?
Yeah, thank you.
I think it's a good idea. I don't know if it's a popular idea or not, but if we don't have an infusion of street money, we're not going to catch up.
Well, maybe since we have a new newspaper guy, you can put an article in there and try and get a popular poll from the citizens. Would you be in favor of?
Marketing's everything.
Well, I'm just saying, you know, put a questionnaire out there. Would you be willing to have $1 increase in your personal property? Or whatever.
You market it right, where everybody shares the pain and you see the benefits.
But what I'm saying, it's early enough that if he could put some out there, it might give us a window. Well, look, we really do have some support out there.
Any help would be appreciated.
I think if you get some initial numbers together to start,
Yeah, we're going to have to.
and then you always whittle it down to how much you're paying per minute. You know, get it down to pennies.
All right, well, we'll have to do that. Thank you, everybody. Appreciate it. I believe that a couple months ago, we did talk about streets and probably 3 or 4 months ago, streets and the fact that we just couldn't get the job done from the budget the way it is now on the amount of money we have. It's very frustrating, and it's frustrating for Mark and Todd and all the crew because we're actually probably not keeping up with the deterioration that's happening. Okay, any other unfinished business, Bruce? Anybody else? Any new business? Bruce?
Big first.
Susan?
Okay. I've been doing a lot of thinking, and I wrote down some of my thoughts, and I just hit the button and lost them, so let me find them back. Bruce, you may have to go first. Let's see, where we go. Oh, darn it, Bruce, I hit the wrong button, so go ahead.
This is just something that, you know, I don't travel a tremendous amount, but when you go into small towns across America, it's really nice when you come into town and you see, welcome to Herman. You know, Herman don't have any welcome signs coming into town.
We
Probably-
used to, they tore it down.
Well, I'm just saying, and I don't mean we need to spend money now, something in the future to look at. I think it would be nice. Since we are a tourist community, I think it would be nice for us to maybe look at the possibility of that down the road. That's it.
That's a good idea. A lot of towns have that. Sometimes even on the back it says, "Thank you, come back," or
Right.
something like that. And
Finding the exact location and all that may be a problem, but I just was on a road trip. not
I'll
long
ask
ago.
MRPC and MoDOT if they have any, if they can help with anything, or they probably can't. But if they have any rules about what we post, where we
Yeah,
can post,
just
so
for
I'll
the
find
future-
out.
for the
I'll
future.
report back. Good idea. Susan, do you?
Yes, I'm ready.
All right.
All right.
Don't hit any buttons.
No. Okay, Bruce proved something wrong tonight that I was going to say, that the aldermen never ask questions about anything in the meetings. We do. Bruce really proved that tonight. Also, when we get the agenda, if we have questions, we go to the city administrator or to the city clerk or the department heads and ask questions. And if we're still a little concerned or confused about something, we'll go ask people in town, our citizens, what they think. This also keeps our meetings down to an hour, hopefully, except tonight, probably not. And we all make our own decisions about how we vote, and we vote from our heart what we feel is best. And I ask that all citizens, regardless of what ward you're in, contact me if you have concerns or questions. Everybody seems to be afraid to contact us. They'll say, well, I don't want to do it. All of us have city emails. You can look at them on the City of Herman's website. You can send me your phone number, and if you would like, I will contact you. I don't give out my personal email or phone number because we all have private lives. And I would hope that everyone in Herman would want what is best for everyone, not just a chosen few. And that's why I decided to become an alderwoman to run. And if you want change in Herman, we all have to work together. Bad-mouthing people, ridiculing them, twisting the truth is not the way to do it. And I think it's sad that some of our citizens are afraid to say what they think because they are afraid they will be bullied. So I think we all need to put down the axes and come together for our town, and cooperate, have productive conversations, and have some integrity, and think about all of us. And that's all I feel. So
Thank you, that's very good. I would add nothing to that, that's perfect the way it is. We do have YouTube videos of the entire meeting, so if people want to see what was said, anybody that couldn't come tonight can, if they can't watch it on TV, they can watch it on YouTube. And it's available anytime they want to watch it. So if they have a question, they are concerned about what was really said, they can look it up. So that's always out there.
Can you, Bob, tell them how to access that YouTube channel?
Yeah, it's on hermanmo.com. I'll go look at it tomorrow. I believe you can go on there, and by date, you can access the video. By tonight's date will be, what's tonight?
27.
The 27th. Tonight's the 27th. And you can look under that and you can see it. If it's an hour long, usually the mayor's report is first, so you can see that, and you can watch and see every word that's said. It's not quite as visible as I would like to see it. We all look like teeny little things up here, and you can hear it pretty good. So maybe we can make some improvements on that. But that's a big step, I think. So there shouldn't be any comments on what was said. You can always ask the alderman. They're your representatives. They're elected by you, 2 from each ward, and then I am elected at large. So there's plenty of people to ask, and I urge you to do that. Okay, let's get to the motions. We have minutes. What do we want to do with them?
Second.
We have a motion made and seconded to approve the minutes. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? minutes are approved. Invoices for payment.
I move we pay the bill.
Second.
We have a motion made and seconded to pay the bills. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
I got to abstain on Red Barn.
Okay. We have one abstention, so the motion is carried. We have a bid from Rolla Truck and Trailer for a dump truck. Do you want to explain that a little bit?
This is one that the water, gas, and sewer departments have put aside $15,000 each, and it will replace the, I think it's a 1984, commonly known as Pee Wee, that is just about on its last leg. We had $45,000 budgeted. They found one that they really liked for $27,500. And I've seen pictures of it. It's a very nice looking truck.
It's coming in 17.5 under budget.
Yep.
Any discussion? Question?
Have they gone and driven this truck and so?
Yes. The Public Works Superintendent and the city mechanic went
Okay.
down to look at it.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion made and seconded to approve the purchase. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion's carried. We have a special event application, White House Hotel, Heritage Days Reenactor Encampments, Riverfront Park, Sesquicentennial Park, green area on East 5th near Creek, September 14 to 16, 2018.
The park board the other night approved this with the exception at the bottom there. They were requesting porta potties and hay and so forth. The city does not provide that, so.
And I've spoken to the gentleman who submitted the application, he's aware of that.
Okay.
So they're going to provide that.
Take care of that yourself.
Okay. Any further discussion?
I'll move to approve.
A second?
I'll second.
We have a motion made and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion's carried. We have a special event application, the Missouri Humanities Council, concert in the amphitheater, September 29, 2018.
What actually is the Missouri Humanities Council?
It's just a nonprofit. I'm not actually sure, they didn't give us any more information than that, but they're hosting a German group called Die Tanzinger.
Yeah, she's
Tammy, do you know any more about it?
Yes, they do a lot of work with the Georgetown State Historic Site. We actually have, we're doing some work with them as well on some German heritage trail work that they're doing. And they're a partner of the University of Missouri in Columbia.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Make a motion to approve.
I second.
We have a motion made and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion is carried. We have caterers permits. St. James Winery and Public House Brewing Company, Big Bam on the Katy event, Riverfront Park, October 11, 2018.
It says designated area in the Herman City.
Right, you will be seeing the special event application hasn't actually come through yet because Tammy's still working with them on ironing out some details that they had wrong in their application or need to be sorted out really. So yes, these folks actually were told wrong to begin with. It is the Riverfront Park. And that's what will be on their licenses. That's where the event's gonna be.
So it will be at the Riverfront Park?
Yes.
Okay. Because, I mean, the temporary liquor license wouldn't be any good if it was registered.
No, it'll be for the Riverfront Park.
Okay. I'll move to approve.
Second?
I'll second.
Motion's made and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion's carried. Families in Action Witches and Wine event, closure of 4th and Schiller Streets for music, vendors, and open containers within street closures, 3 p.m. to 10:30 p.m., October 18, 2018.
Chief, we didn't have any problems with this last year, did we?
No, there's no issues.
We didn't have any illegal takeoffs or landings? Okay,
Well, there's no men allowed.
yeah, that's right. Okay, any other discussion?
Would this be the approval for the suspending the open container, or is that separate?
I was hoping we could do it all at once.
I just didn't know if there was something else that we had to do.
No, but they did have, if you all saw, there's a full, they have a memo attached here.
Open containers.
There was
Okay, and we did that last year,
Yes.
I believe, so
I have no problem with it. I'll make a motion to approve it.
I'll second that motion.
we have a motion made and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion's carried. Being no reports or citizen comments, we had one that she's spoken. Then we will not have a closed session.
Dolores has her hand up back
Good.
there.
We have
Oh, Dolores?
Can I have a question for you,
Sure.
Mayor? You said that in your report, you said you're going to apply for a demolition grant, correct?
Right.
Is there a matching fund that the city has to come up with for that grant?
There is.
mostly in kind,
It's in kind?
yes.
So
We-
it's not
we're
like
do- we're-
10%, 15?
Yeah, it's, with the resident, it's
Fine.
90-10, I think, and with a commercial building, it's 80-20, with the city, 20%
So
in
we're
kind.
putting the in-kind
Yes.
service into this?
Mostly by seeding and strawing, grading, that kind of stuff.
Okay.
and we
This is
are-
on private property that's going on?
And we are paying for title searches and asbestos inspection as part of our in-kind also.
Okay, so thank you.
Okay, I'm sorry, I didn't see you back there.
I have one more thing that I'd like to throw out. September 1st is going to be the deadline for applying for a brick at the Veterans for the first printing of the bricks. I mean, you can still order after that, but just to throw that out there, that we are willing to cut it off at September 1st for the first run. And so if anybody would like to have one of their family members that's a veteran, they can pick up the applications at the city office or the banks or tourism.
They're going out on the bills this month too.
Do what?
There'll be applications in with the utility bills.
Okay, there'll be applications in with your utility bills, but anyway, the
Thanks.
project is moving along and we'd like to get as many people as we can to participate. Thank you.
Susan?
I would like to remind all the citizens that if they want to work on their health, they can do free walking. Community walking starts on Tuesday, September 4th at the Herman Middle School, and it goes until 6 p.m. every night that school is in session. If school is closed for weather or it's a holiday and there's no school, you can't go walk. But I will personally be there at 4 o'clock on September 4th to help people get started, so I encourage everybody to come out and walk and get healthy.
Something I don't always do because the timing usually isn't right, but tomorrow we have a flag ceremony for a deceased veteran at 9:30 at the firehouse in the city park. Everyone in the community is welcome and encouraged to come. If you've never attended one of these, it's a very wonderful ceremony to help honor our deceased veterans. So anybody would like to come out, please do.
Anything else? We are not going to have a closed session because Mr. Polite is not here. It was his report. He's not here to make it. So I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll move to adjourn.
Second.
Second.
We have a motion made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Adjourn. Thank you very much, everyone.
No,